Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Little by little, these guys are just dropping their masks. Why? Because they actually don't care, and the media already prepared the field, prepared everything for these guys to understand and forget the origins of the conflict in Ukraine. And not only the origins, but who were behind, more or less, but they were. In this case, they come out in the open, and they, being the Ukrainian media, telling us the statements made by the British. And the Brits tell us how many Ukrainian military, the personnel, how many they trained during the Russian invasion, I have to mention that, unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, and before the Russians intervened or aggressed Ukraine. And I have here the exact numbers. They tell us nonchalantly. Why? Because people would not put things together, not connect dots, and so on. They thought the time already passed and they forgot, and they're right about it. Most of these guys have an attention span of 3 minutes. Just to mention that the deer, those animals, they have up to 5 minutes attention span. Humans, it seems like they have about 3 minutes. So let's see what's going on here. I have 3 articles. Ukrainska Pravda. This is Friday, the 10th of November, 2023. UK has trained 30,000 Ukrainian soldiers. Now, you might say, so? Well, if you're fighting me, and Gigi trains you and to fight me, to get better, to kill me, guess what Gigi is? To me. Definitely involved. Definitely I'm going to look for Gigi and I'm going to teach him a lesson. Okay? Now you can say, I hope the Russians will not dare. Well, that's true. I don't think they don't dare. I think they look in the future, because some people push it. And that might happen, but I hope not, for the good of all of us. So let's go to the article over there. So let's see the context. A total of 30,000 Ukrainian service members, military troops, have received training in the UK. Why? Because the UK has a lot of experience in dealing with other countries. You know what I mean? Yeah, defending itself. Sunak said another group of Ukrainian soldiers completed their training in the UK this week, boarded their transports and headed home. Who paid for that? The British people. Good for you. I paid for many things I didn't want to pay. Biden decided, and these crooks over here. So thank you. Join the club, my friends. And I'm quoting, as always, their route was aligned with British soldiers applauding their Ukrainian brothers and sisters because they know that you are fighting for values that we share, the UK Prime Minister said. Okay, Sunak stated that a total of 30,000 Ukrainian soldiers have completed their training in the UK, including artillerymen, marines, engineers, combat medics, and more. Not to mention the 22,000 Ukrainian soldiers trained by the UK before the Russian invasion. So they finished 30,000 since the invasion, plus 22,000. That makes about what? 52,000 people? That's an army. It's 52,000 people. I think the Romanian army right now is about, total with everybody is about 50,000. From, 200,000 that was during the communist times. We are working with our allies and partners. Yeah, okay. And you're going to pay our allies and partners. When we're going to win this, you are going to be ours to give you work to do for us. And we're going to give you printed money. And partners to deliver the support you need to keep up the pressure on Putin's forces. Yeah, it's like Putin fighting. It's not Russia fighting for its own, security against NATO. Okay. Together with our allies, we will support Ukraine to realize its destiny and a secure, thriving European democracy. European democracy. Like what? All right, next article. Ahead of schedule, the UK lead op Interflex has rescheduled the milestone. It has reached the milestone of 30,000 recruits trained in the UK since June 2022. taking the number of trained Ukrainian soldiers to more than 52,000 since Russia launched its unprovoked invasion. I would like to report over there the verbal hate crime over there of Ukraine in 2014. So they trained 22,000 people since 2014 until 2020, according to November 10 press release from the UK Defense Minister. Okay, a number of international partner forces joined the program, and those are Canada, because they have experience fighting wars. New Zealand, the same thing. Norway, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Lithuania, the Netherlands, and Austria. And today, NATO ally Romania has also confirmed its involvement, taking the number of partner nations to 10. Good job, Romania. Good job. You are at the end of the line. Good. Following whatever. So here it is, my friends. The last one is EU. European Union aims to train 40,000 Ukrainian soldiers by the end of 2023. So 40,000 plus 52,000 gets what? 92,000? 100,000 people. They trained the Ukrainian army. And you tell me that the Russians were just stupid? Remember when the Russians said, before they invaded unprovoked, Ukraine, because they have a problem with Ukraine, not with NATO, with Ukraine. Frame it that way. That's how they want us to have it in our mind. It's Ukraine versus Russia, but we train them. And the interest behind all this garbage are counting their money and their shares. And these guys are fighting like idiots, like we don't know. All right. So we have this amount of people training. Now, European Union is an enemy of Russia, a neutral in a war, in a Ukrainian war with Russia, or a friend of Russia. There's no other way. So you have three options: European Union and outside of European Union, Great Britain. By doing that, among other things, intelligence and being actively ordering and commanding, I'm pretty sure they do that. We're going to find out when they allow us. Like this one, we're going to find out that when it's convenient for them and they can justify it. See, war crimes over there by Russia, justification, we had to help our brothers and sisters because they defend our values. So in this case, we have what? We have enemies, we have neutral, and we have friends. So there's no other option. There's three options. So is the European Union a friend of Russia, and Great Britain, are they a friend of Russia through their actions? No. Are they neutral? No. These guys train those guys to kill the Russians and give them weapons and give them support and put sanctions on Russia. So they can't be neutral. It's only the third one, obviously. They're the enemies. So the Russians in self-defense as Israel and the United States in Syria could potentially destroy these two. Great Britain and the European Union. They could. Well, it's going to be a disaster. But they do it. Why not? Do you think they're afraid? Or do you think they're they imply a reason? They insert a reason into this. So who is actually the one that doesn't care and say, well, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to attack. I'm going to be your enemy. And if you react, it's going to be on you. That's very strange. It's very strange. That reminds me of, if you remember, when Germany invaded unprovoked Poland. It was what? It was September 1st, 1939, wasn't it? And they said, remember who was behind all that? And said, let them attack you. If they attack you, we're going to support you. Yeah, it was again Great Britain and France. So the Poles, when they negotiated the Gdansk corridor and the issue, they said, we don't have to deal anything here. We don't have to give any concessions, negotiation with the Germans. Therefore, attack us. I dare you. And if you attack us, the British will come and kick your butt. And the French. And eventually the aggressor Adolf did it. He gave them an ultimatum. The guys in London were exchanging shares over there and buying and waiting like the Napoleon, right? Wasn't it at the Waterloo, waiting what's going to happen? We're going to give them both money and we wait who's winning and then who's attacking. When that happened, Great Britain declared war on Germany, and then the French were like, oh shit. They declared what, in more than 48 hours or something? They were like, come on, no. Why? Because the Brits don't live in Europe. The French do. That's what General de Gaulle used to say. Two things to his European allies. Two things. United States, Americans don't live in Europe, and Great Britain is an islands, whatever. So that means they don't care if we fight here. They're outsiders, but they instigate, they do stuff. So yeah, and then we had the Second World War. The Second World War actually did not start when Germany invaded Poland, because this was a country versus a country. There was not a war, it was not a world war. It was one country against another one. It became a world war when these guys intervened. 3 countries, 4 countries, then the Soviet and so on, the Soviets. That's when it became. Yeah, you can say, well, that triggered it. Well, you can say, okay, well, why didn't the Poles negotiate it? They were given Gdansk after the First World War, just like that. Poland was not a country before the end of the First World War. It was not a country. Look on the map. It was not. It was formed after the First World War ended. It was brought from these countries together and was Poland again. Not as big as they all wanted, because probably they want 2/3 of Europe. Okay? And who wouldn't if they can? Unless you're honest and fair. So here it is, my friends. These guys are obviously the enemies. When the Russians were crying, remember, in 2021, in December and in October and in November, about, hey, we need to negotiate, we need you to give us some security guarantees, you bring your troops here, you train these guys over here, you do this. What did NATO do? United States, do it. And they did it, unprovoked. Now, if you want to be a below 86 IQ, you're going to believe that narrative, but I don't. Why? Because there's the evidence is there. These guys come and tell us that before they started, they were training those guys. Remember, they had Minsk Agreement 1 and 2? Why do you train these guys if you have Minsk 1 and Minsk 2? Because you don't want to implement them. As Angela Merkel and Hollande of France stated, we just bought Ukraine time. For what? To arm themselves. That's exactly what they said. Against whom, I wonder? And the Russians were crazy saying that? These guys are arming over there. They're getting ready to attack us, or at least to come closer to us, which NATO has been doing since 1991, even though, remember that verbal gentleman promise, not 1 inch east towards you guys. And the idiots, Soviets said, Russians actually in that case says, okay. So much for the word of the West. And you want them now to believe you? I wouldn't believe them, oh my God, at all. I don't believe anyone unless we build trust. And that takes time, and it's reciprocity over here. I build trust, you build trust with me, and then we become, friends and so on. But like this, no. So yeah, the Russians are bad. Obviously, the other guys helping their brothers to achieve their destiny, all kind of bullshit. And the Russians, are the bad guys. And my problem is with the Ukrainians being destroyed, and the Russians, having their population and so on. Again, destroyed. For whom? For whom? For the interests of democracy and freedom and money. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.